It started on a Thursday night, one of those perfectly boring evenings that felt safe. Dinner was just warmed-up chicken from the night before. The house smelled like lavender from one of Kayla's scented candles. And I was on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, scrolling through a code review thread on my phone. Kayla was in the kitchen, humming to herself. I could hear the clink of a spoon against ceramic as she stirred her tea. That soft sound was comforting, familiar, like her. A few minutes later, she walked in slowly. Not rushed, not casual either. She had that, I'm thinking about something but trying not to show it look on her face. She sat down next to me, gently shifting my leg to make space. I gave her a quick smile. "Tea emergency?" I teased. She smiled back, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. "Hey," she said softly. I lowered the volume on the TV. "Hey, you good?" She nodded, but it was one of those slow, hesitant nods. "Can we talk about something?" That phrase, every time someone says that, your brain immediately scans for landmines. Did I forget an anniversary? Did I say something dumb in my sleep? Is she pregnant? "Sure," I said, locking my phone and turning to her. "What's up?" She took a small breath and looked down at her mug. I noticed you've been texting your coworkers a lot lately." My eyebrows lifted a little. "Okay, yeah. We've got a release next week. It's been kinda hectic." She nodded again. "I know, it's just—" She hesitated, chewing the inside of her cheek. "I guess it makes me a little uncomfortable when you text them late at night, especially the women." I blinked, not in shock, just surprise. I wasn't expecting that. "Like Emily and Jess?" I asked carefully. She gave a quick nod, still not quite looking at me. "Yeah, like I know it's work. I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong. It just, I don't know. It gives me this weird feeling." I sat back a little, trying to read her expression. She wasn't angry, not accusing, but there was something guarded in her voice, like she was walking a tightrope. "I never really think about who I'm messaging," I said honestly. "I'm just trying to keep things moving, you know? Half the team is women." "I get that," she said quickly. "I really do. I'm not trying to be controlling or clingy or anything." She reached out and touched my arm, lightly, reassuringly. "I trust you. I do. It's just, maybe it's a boundary thing?" "A boundary," I repeated. "Not judgmental, just trying to understand." "Yeah," she said, shrugging a little. I'd rather you didn't text female coworkers late at night. It just feels kind of inappropriate to me, you know? Like, there's a time for work, and midnight isn't really it." There was a moment of silence. The show on TV kept playing, but neither of us was listening. She sipped her tea. I looked at the frozen notification screen on my phone. I could have pushed back. Said it was a deadline week, that tech teams don't work 9 to 5. But she looked so vulnerable in that moment, so certain that this was about respect, not jealousy or control. So I nodded. "Okay, I'll keep messages during work hours. That cool?" Her face softened instantly. She gave me that warm, grateful smile. "Yeah, that means a lot. Really. Thank you, babe." She leaned into me, head resting against my shoulder. We sat there in silence, finishing the episode. And that's how it started. Not with a fight or a scream or suspicion, just a soft voice, a warm mug, and a little thing. I didn't know it yet, but that was the first cut. It was a Sunday night. Kayla had just finished doing her skincare routine, hair pulled back, face slightly shiny from moisturizer. I was already in bed, scrolling mindlessly through Reddit, one leg out from under the blanket like always. She turned off the bathroom light and walked in, wearing one of my old t-shirts and a pair of loose shorts. She crawled under the covers, sighed contentedly, then turned to face me on the pillow. And then came that same tone, soft, casual, like she was easing into something. "Hey," she said, eyes darting toward my phone. "Can I ask you something?" I locked the screen and turned to her. "Of course." She reached over and gently fiddled with the edge of my shirt, not looking me in the eye. "I saw that team photo you posted on Slack the other day, from that off-site meeting thing." "Oh yeah," I said, smiling. "That was chaos. We had like 3 whiteboards going at once. Yeah, she said slowly. It's just, I noticed you were sitting next to Claire again. I blinked. Claire? Yeah, that girl with the long brown hair. She's always in those group pics with you. I thought for a second. She's our team lead, Kayla. She runs the whole product line. I know, she said quickly. I'm not saying anything's going on. It kind of stood out to me, that's all. What stood out? She hesitated. You two were like, leaning in. It just looked a little close. Physically. I actually laughed, not to mock her, just out of sheer surprise. Kayla, we were passing a laptop back and forth. You can literally see the cable between us. She didn't laugh. Her fingers kept playing with the seam of my shirt. I'm not trying to start something, she said softly. It just makes me uncomfortable when I see stuff like that. Like, would it be so hard to maybe not sit next to her next time? I stared at the ceiling for a moment, feeling that tight little ball of confusion form in my chest. It was such a weird request. Claire's desk was 2 seats away from mine. We worked together every day. It wasn't like I was choosing who to sit with on a field trip. Still, I looked at Kayla's face. Peaceful, but slightly tense. Like she was trying to be gentle but firm at the same time. It's not about her, she added. It's just, if the roles were reversed, I'd want to make sure I wasn't making you uncomfortable either, that's all. There it was again, the respect argument. The, if it were me logic. So simple on the surface. So hard to argue with without sounding like an ass. So I gave a slow nod. Okay, I'll be more mindful. I can sit somewhere else. She smiled and leaned in to kiss me. Thank you, babe. You always listen. That's what I love about you. I smiled back, but I didn't feel great. It felt weird. Like I had just agreed to something I didn't even understand the rules for. Still, I rolled over, held her close, and told myself, it's not a big deal. It's just one more little thing. Over the next few weeks, Kayla added a few more little things. First, it was lunch. Do you still eat with Priya? She asked one night while brushing her hair. I said, yeah, sometimes. She gave me that polite little smile and said, maybe try not doing one-on-one lunches with her. People might get the wrong idea. Next came my contact list. She was using my phone to order food, then casually mentioned, I noticed a bunch of names I don't recognize, some of them women. Do you really need them all saved? I shrugged. They're just work contacts. Still, she said, it's better to keep things professional, clean. Less room for misunderstandings. It all came in that same soft, reasonable tone, like she was helping me avoid some imaginary scandal. And I kept agreeing because every request sounded harmless, on its own. But at work, it started to get awkward. I stopped sitting near Claire in meetings, even though she was our team lead. I avoided chatting with Priya unless someone else was around. When Emily asked if I was okay, I just smiled and said, yeah, all good, just keeping things simple. But I wasn't. I felt like I was tiptoeing through my own workplace, terrified of giving the wrong impression. Not to HR, not to my boss, but to my wife. I started eating lunch alone. I said no to a networking event because there'd be women traveling too. I even skipped a happy hour just because I didn't want to explain who was there. And every time Kayla kissed me on the cheek and said, thank you for understanding. I just love how respectful you are, I smiled back. But inside, I was slowly disappearing. At first, I didn't think anything of it. Work had been busy for both of us. Kayla started mentioning deadlines more often, meetings that ran late, and a new project that needed extra hands. I supported her. I mean, I'd been canceling my own events for the sake of her comfort. The least I could do was understand when she was busy, right? Hey, I said one evening as she walked in past 9 p.m. I was on the couch, in sweatpants, half asleep with a bowl of popcorn I'd made for both of us. Everything okay? She kicked off her heels and let out a long breath. Ugh, I'm dead. Today was hell. Long meeting? More like 3 in a row, she groaned, dropping her bag. And guess who had to babysit the interns again? I chuckled and stood up to hug her. She hugged me back, quick and distracted. Then I smelled it. Perfume. Strong, sweet, unfamiliar. Not hers. I didn't say anything. Not right away. Instead, I just said, "You smell fancy. Someone's wearing something new?" She blinked. "Oh, I guess one of the girls at work sprayed something near my desk. It's everywhere." Then she laughed it off and walked toward the shower. After that, the late nights came more often. She stopped asking if I wanted to watch something together. She spent more time in the bathroom before bed, longer showers, more time checking her phone. And one night, I noticed something small but strange. I walked past her bag while picking up laundry and saw a small box in the side pocket. One of those expensive lipstick brands I'd never seen her wear. Deep red, not Kayla's color. She hated red. So I asked, keeping it light, "Going for a new look?" She looked up from her phone. "What?" "The lipstick. In your bag." "Oh, that? It's not mine. Michelle left it in my car. I'm holding on to it for her." I nodded. "Got it." She smiled. "You're cute when you're nosy." I laughed. She laughed. But something in my gut twisted. Then came the moment that cracked the surface. One night, I passed by the kitchen while grabbing a glass of water and heard her laughing. Not a regular laugh. A flirty one. That giggle she used to do when we were first dating. She was on the phone. I didn't catch the full conversation, just a name. Eric. She never mentioned an Eric. When I walked in, she quickly said, "Okay, yeah, I'll talk to you later. Bye," and locked her phone. I raised an eyebrow. "Friend from work?" She smiled, too wide. "Yeah, he's on the new project. I was just helping him with some formatting stuff. He's hopeless with Google Docs." I nodded slowly. "Cool." She changed the subject so fast it almost gave me whiplash. And that's when the first real thought crept in. Not suspicion exactly. More like that quiet, sinking feeling that you've been careful with every single step, only to find out the other person's been running free the whole time. I wasn't looking for anything. Honestly, even after the phone call with Eric, even after the unfamiliar perfume, even after the late nights, I kept telling myself the same thing. Don't be that guy. Don't turn into a paranoid freak just because your wife has a job and talks to people. But that voice got quieter, and the silence in the house got louder. It was a Friday night. She said she had to work late again. Another team meeting, this time at a downtown restaurant. I offered to drive her. She said no. I offered to pick her up. She said she'd Uber. I offered to wait up. She said, "Please don't. I'll be exhausted." I sat on the couch until midnight, TV on but my mind racing. At 12:42 a.m., she finally came home. She tiptoed in, thinking I was asleep. I watched from the hallway. She kicked off her heels quietly, took her phone out of her purse and smiled at the screen. That soft, glowing smile, not for me. Then she turned the screen away and walked into the bathroom. I went back to bed. Didn't say anything. Just stared at the ceiling, heart pounding. The next morning, I cracked. She was still asleep. Her phone was on the nightstand. I sat there for a full 10 minutes, just staring at it. I wasn't trying to be a spy, but I had to know. She didn't have a lock on her notifications, just a lock screen, and that's when I saw it. A preview from someone saved as, "Work Eric." Message. "Last night was worth every risk. Can't stop thinking about you." My stomach dropped. For a few seconds I just sat there, phone still in my hand, like the words hadn't registered yet. Like maybe I misread it. Maybe it was some inside joke. Maybe it was old. I tapped the screen again. The thread was locked. Passcode required. She'd never used to lock anything. I placed the phone back exactly where it was, stood up, walked to the kitchen. My hands were cold. My ears were ringing. And somewhere between the fridge and the sink, I said it out loud for the first time. "She's cheating on me." Not maybe, not probably. She is. But the thing is, I didn't scream. I didn't smash her phone. I didn't drag her out of bed and demand answers. I just stood there, and something inside me started to shift. Not anger, not yet, just clarity. Like I'd spent months walking through fog. and now I could finally see the outline of something sharp right in front of me. And I knew I wasn't done yet. If she had secrets, I wanted every last one of them. After that message from Work Eric, something flipped in me. I didn't confront her. I didn't throw a scene. I didn't even change my tone when I spoke to her the next morning. I made coffee, asked about her late-night strategy meeting, and smiled through it. Because now I needed time. Time to understand how deep it went. Time to stop being the idiot in the dark. Time to prepare the truth, with receipts. Step 1. Patterns. I started paying attention to her schedule, properly. Not the stories, but the patterns. She claimed she was too busy for dinner on Wednesdays. Then Fridays started to become team drinks. Once, she even said she was staying at a coworker's place because it was too late to Uber back. That was the night she forgot her scarf. So I started writing it down, every excuse, every inconsistency. I made a quiet little log in my phone, dates, times, locations she said she'd be, and when she actually got home. She was sloppy. She reused lies. She forgot which meeting she said was on which day. Step 2. Devices. She had an old iPad she barely used, still logged into her iCloud. She probably forgot. I didn't. I turned off Wi-Fi, opened messages, mirror of her phone, full sync, and there he was, Eric, with a grinning photo in a tight black t-shirt, middle management probably, corporate beard, those try-hard motivational quote types. Their thread was sickening. Miss your lips already. Next week, same hotel? You looked so hot pretending you were just going to the restroom. There were pictures, selfies in a mirror, a hotel lobby, a restaurant menu she told me was just a girl's night. My fingers were shaking, but I kept scrolling. Not because I needed more proof, but because I needed to feel it. Every single lie. Step 3. Backup. I took screenshots. Every message, every image. Uploaded them to a hidden Google Drive folder under a generic name, Taxes 2025, just in case. I printed the most damning ones at work, quietly, black and white, folded and sealed them in a plain envelope. I didn't know what I'd do with it yet. But I wanted it, something physical, proof that I wasn't crazy, that all this respect she preached was a smokescreen for her guilt. Step 4. Watching her lie. Now that I knew, every smile she gave me felt plastic. Every love you made my skin crawl. And the worst part? She still kept laying down the rules. One night, I caught her glancing at my phone and asking casually, "Are you still texting that girl from HR?" I looked her dead in the eyes and said, "No, I don't text women after work, remember?" She smiled, kissed me on the cheek. "Good. I like that we have clear boundaries." "Oh, we do. You just don't know how clear they're about to get." I waited for the right moment, because that's when the hit lands hardest, when the target feels safe. It was a Sunday morning, sunlight coming through the blinds, coffee brewing, jazz playing softly from the kitchen speaker. Kayla was in a good mood. She had her homey look going, loose bun, cozy socks, reading a cookbook like she was gonna bake something she'd never actually make. She sat at the table, flipping pages, humming. I walked in with the envelope, plain white, no markings, just the weight of truth folded neatly inside. "Hey," I said, setting it down in front of her. She looked up, blinking. "What's this?" "Something we should talk about," I said, sitting down across from her. "Since we're both so big on boundaries." She gave a confused little smile. "Okay? Go ahead, open it." She hesitated, like her gut knew before her brain did. Then she opened it. First page, a screenshot of her and Eric. Text bubble. "Can't wait to have you all to myself again next weekend. He has no idea." Her eyes froze. She flipped to the next page. A photo of her in that red lipstick, the one that wasn't hers, standing in front of a mirror. Too much? Or just enough for a team dinner? She didn't speak, didn't breathe. Page 3. Eric in a hotel bed, bare chest. Page 4. calendar log of the nights she told me she was too tired compared to her actual GPS-tagged selfies. She finally looked up. "What is this?" she whispered. I tilted my head, calm, measured, just like she taught me to be. "It's clarity. That's what you said you wanted, right?" "Are you spying on me?" she asked, voice rising. I raised an eyebrow. "Spying? No, I'm documenting. I just wanted to make sure I was respecting your boundaries properly. Wouldn't want to accidentally sit next to someone or text the wrong gender after work hours." Her lips trembled. "You went through my stuff?" I smiled. Not big, just enough. "You went through mine first. Contacts, messages, meetings. Remember?" She stood up suddenly, knocking over her chair. "This is insane." "What's insane," I said, still seated, "is that I was playing by your rules while you were out there writing your own." She looked like she was about to cry or scream, but I didn't care anymore. "I'll be staying at my brother's for now," I said, standing slowly. "I've already talked to a lawyer. You'll get the paperwork soon." She started shaking her head, panicked. "Wait, no, listen, it didn't mean anything. Eric was, it just—" I cut her off with one final sentence. "Don't worry, I won't text any women after 6 p.m. on the way out." And then I walked out. Kayla tried texting the next day, then calling, then voice notes, then the long crying emails. They all started the same way. "Please, just let me explain." And they all ended the same way. "You misunderstood everything." But the truth is, I didn't misunderstand. I just finally understood. At my brother's place, it was quiet. No rules, no invisible tripwires, no one watching my phone when it buzzed. I slept better, ate better. I even laughed again, real, sharp laughs, the kind that hurt your ribs a little. Meanwhile, Kayla sent one last message a week later. "I made a mistake, but we were supposed to be a team. How can you throw it all away like that?" I didn't reply, not because I didn't have words, but because she threw it away first, piece by piece. She called it love. She called it respect. But it was a slow erasure of my trust, my comfort, my sense of self. She built a cage out of boundaries and lived outside of it. And the day I walked out, that wasn't the end. That was the first time I'd breathed in months. Let her explain it however she wants. To her friends, to her parents, to her mirror. As for me, I'm rebuilding. No restrictions, no silent rules, no fake smiles over breakfast. And next time someone says, "Can we talk about boundaries?" I'll say, "Sure, let's start with yours." About 3 months after the divorce was finalized, I got a call from an unfamiliar number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me swipe. "Hey, is this Ryan?" The voice was hesitant, but vaguely familiar. "This is Dana. We met once at Kayla's old holiday party." "Right. Dana." She worked in the same department as Kayla. I kept it polite. "Hi. Yeah. I hope it's okay I'm reaching out," she said. "I just thought you might want to know what's been going on." I stayed silent. That usually gets people to the point faster. "Well," she said, dropping her voice, "the whole thing with Kayla and Eric? It came out, officially." "Yeah?" "Yeah. Someone filed an anonymous complaint to HR. Turns out they were using company resources for non-work activity. Messages, hotel bookings on the shared calendar, even photos saved to the company drive. Not smart." I almost laughed. "They both got fired," she said. "HR made it very public internally. No references, no severance, just gone." I didn't ask for more. I didn't care to. "Anyway," Dana said, "I just thought you deserved to know." "Thanks," I said. I already knew who she was. Now everyone else does too. Funny thing. Around the same time, my own company started reorganizing. A few senior people left, and my name was floated for one of the open leadership spots. At first, I figured I wouldn't get it. But apparently, being consistent, calm, and not a drama magnet makes an impression over time. About a month after Dana's call, my boss took me aside and said, "We've been watching how you carry yourself. You've earned this. Team lead, new office, real authority." I didn't jump for joy. I didn't post about it on social media. I just went home, poured myself a drink, and sat in silence. A good silence. The kind that doesn't walk on eggshells or hide lipstick in side pockets. Kayla lost more than a job. She lost the narrative. And me? I gained something I didn't realize I was missing. A life that doesn't require permission. No hidden boundaries, no quiet rules, just peace. And a damn good view from where I'm standing.